Hey guys, welcome to another Protein Bros episode. We are today sitting down with one of our favorite people, Casey Haase, owner of Beyond Fitness in Grain Valley, Missouri. Casey is a yoga instructor, TRX instructor. She does group classes, one-on-one training, and she genuinely helps her members Beyond Fitness. It's in her name, and you get to hear all about all the things that they offer. And like I said, she's an amazing individual, and you can learn a lot from her. So I really hope you guys lean into this one today. She gets really deep, tells us about things that we can do to help ourselves outside of lifting weights, outside of running, and going beyond fitness. So tune in, let us know what you guys think. And as always, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast. You want to hear a hilarious story? Someone just challenged me to like this guy who is on TikTok who's like, they play him 1 second of a song and he knows them and he like knew all of them, right? And I was like, oh, this is like right in my wheelhouse. I usually know music really well. Casey and I have already connected on music actually. Yeah. And they got one wrong. And I was like, oh, this is Passion Pit, Sleepyhead. And JP was the one who was doing it for me. And he's like, dude, that's the only one they missed. And I was like, yeah, dude, sorry. Passion Pit fan over here. So I happened to know it. So anyways, I became a musical genius for knowing Passion Pit. So make fun of me some more.
Whatever you're into.
What's not to love? If you listen to it, it's great.
Casey, what's your favorite band?
Ooh, oh man, that's call. So good. So I was raised as a child going to dive bars, which is really normal. So some
good stories there,
right?
For sure.
Right. Yeah. And so I love old school music. Like Mustang Sally is a good one for me.
Oh yeah.
But then I'm not traditional. Like I love Pink. You know, I'm going to her
women
concert.
Empowerment music.
Yes.
Kelly Clarkson.
Yes.
Same wheelhouse.
Love all of that.
Yeah.
And then you have your Evan Bartels, which is the one I sent you that no one really knows about.
Deep cut.
Yeah. So all that. I like it all.
Nice.
Same. Yeah. I grew up on, when you say old school, like I was brought up, my dad's older for like most people's parents were just younger than my parents. My parents had me at 36. And so we listened to genuine like doo-wop music. Like I grew up on like the Four Tops. Okay. And like 50s, 60s Motown stuff.
What about, did you ever listen to Patsy Cline?
Yeah.
That's what I was,
That's great.
Yeah. Loved that.
More soulful than, like the really high pitched, snapping and clapping of the Motown songs. But like, I prefer a Patsy Cline or a Etta James over four dudes. Barbershop quartetting, if you will.
Yes.
So
something that I like to do is whenever I'm like meal prepping or cooking dinner, we have a record or a, what is that?
Bluetooth speaker?
No, like the old school.
Oh, record player.
Record player. Yeah. Thank you. We have a record player.
Turntable.
I was turntable.
Yeah. She was.
So we have a record player, and I get all those old records and play like Patsy Cline at night, and just I sound like an old person. Patsy Cline. And
what's not to love?
Wine.
Yeah.
And chopping vegetables.
It's a whole mood.
American dream right there.
It's a whole vibe, as the kids would say, Luke.
I like it. It is a whole vibe.
It's a whole vibe, right, Luke? It is. My gosh, man. Every time I say stuff like that, I'm like, what am I supposed to say anymore? How am I supposed to talk? You know? Well, there's a demographic of 25 to 34, and I'm 35. So it's like, I'm no longer allowed to say young things.
Yeah, but the problem is that I think you and I both still like we're in that genre of young people.
Well, yeah, we like to stay up to date more or less. Like I'm present. Yes. I enjoy learning.
And we both move, and so we're physically fit and well, and so it doesn't like I don't resonate with the older people like I am.
Totally, that's very true. It's tough to tough to relate.
Here's some really good ones.
Oh,
drip.
Okay,
drip.
Can you use that? Can you use that in a sentence?
Yeah. Check out check out the booger dripping from Jeff's nose. Is that right, Luke? Is that how the kids are using it?
Hey, no, dude.
I think you nailed it, actually.
Hey, Luke, pull up the YouTube clip of that famous kid.
Dude.
What?
What about that one you're using yesterday?
Which one? Oh, God. I don't know if I could say that. I had to learn what a bussy was. I had never heard of a bussy.
He's like, dude, have you heard of the word bussy? And I'm like, no.
Because people say bussin', right?
Yeah.
Which would be
It's
like
not that. It's
really
not
good,
that.
amazing,
Okay,
right?
so fill me in
There's
because
drip.
I don't know either.
Okay.
Or is this a sidebar conversation?
We'll have to keep this out of the podcast.
No, we can keep it here, but it's like we'll just leave it, for people to draw their own conclusions. But
I like it.
so bussy would be a male's version of a insert word.
Okay.
And because males don't have such, in the LGBTQIA community, they refer to a bussy as a boy's version of that.
Okay.
There you
Jeff
go.
had to go to the Urban Dictionary to figure this one out.
It was originated
But
as
at least
early as
you
2007.
took the initiative to go do that.
Yeah.
I'm glad
You
he
know,
wasn't
figure it
using
out.
it in common conversation.
Man,
before doing
because
that.
bussin' looks very similar on as you type it.
Oh,
right?
here's a good
So
one.
you're like, oh man, this sandwich is bussin' is what some people would say, and I throw in a bussy just cause. What would happen there?
Yeah.
That's the opposite of what a sandwich should taste like, right? So that's where we were at, and so and in
Is
that
that
moment,
what-
Well,
and in that
welcome to
moment,
today's podcast.
Yeah.
in that moment, I knew I was old, and that was that. So
Here's a good one. Yeet.
yeah, we
The
know.
kids, the kids
yeah.
love a yeet.
I throw in a yeet now and then.
Yeah.
My 6-year-old says that.
Yeet. There's also
I need you to look up the guy that's like, I'm about to get arrested for all this drip, y'all. And he's like the dorkiest guy of all time. You know what I'm talking about? There's a guy on Instagram that has just the funniest thing that's like, somebody come arrest me because of all this drip. We should play that. We should play that. Those are great.
dude, this is nuts. I Googled this and it's 2023 teen slang meanings every parent should know. First one's 420. It's like, you don't know that as a parent?
Yeah.
You got to know what that is.
You gotta know what that is. Like, what the hell?
Did when I was a kid, they would say 420 was because of like that's what police like arrest you for. It's a 420 on the,
Ooh.
and I was like, is that really why?
No.
Right? Or like 311 was that band name because it's like
Right.
the 911 number for a non-emergency.
Yeah.
But apparently it was also for like if you got caught with drugs, like that was.
I thought 311
code or
was 11th letter in the alphabet, which is K. KKK. I was like, they're racist.
There it is, 3 Ks.
They're racist.
Another
I pulled that one
urban
deep.
legend.
I mean, I pulled that one deep from 5th grade right there because I probably haven't heard anyone say that or I haven't repeated it
Guys,
since
for
5th grade.
for all of our
So you
listeners,
feel safe to
there's
share
an-
that with us today.
I felt like,
Kyle, we
that-
just met, but
here-
I feel so good that you feel so comfortable
You're,
around me
you're
already.
welcome. You're welcome. I don't even know if K is the 11th letter in the alphabet.
it is.
Is it?
Because my name's
Luke,
Jay.
look that up.
First name. Here you go. This dude right here. Listen to this dude. This is how the kids are talking. All the way to the beginning. He's incredible.
Bro.
He's amazing. Listen.
Someone locked me up. Locked me up for this drip today. This drip today, someone locked me up for it. Oh God, screw 12 out for real. Drip's illegal in 49 states. Good thing I live in Ohio.
He just talks like that all the time.
Was that Benjamin Button?
He said
What
screw
was it?
12. Do you know what screw 12 means, Kyle?
Nah.
They're talking about police when he says that.
Screw 12, huh?
Yeah, 12 is police. And then he said, on God.
Oh, God.
Locked me up for this drip today. This drip today, someone locked me up for it. Oh God, screw 12 out for real. This drip's illegal in 49 states. Good thing I live in Ohio.
That's all I need to know. Anyways, so I'm glad I don't sound like that when I talk, but it is fun to watch. Anywho, this is important to talk about, I think. How did we all know, and this is a good test because I think we all knew this, but how did we all know pre-internet, how did it make its rounds throughout the entire country that Marilyn Monroe could remove, or no, Marilyn Manson, apologize.
Oh, I was like, whoa.
I
Marilyn
know what
Manson,
you're going to talk about, the rib.
he removed the rib from his
oh,
body, and what was he
yes.
able to do?
Yeah.
Casey, what was he
Oh.
able to do?
He could get down to his bussy.
Didn't know we could use it. Good job, Kyle. Hey,
You're welcome.
That was good.
Use it in a
Thank,
sentence.
thank
Done.
you for saving me, Kyle.
What was he able to do, Casey? No. So, yeah, but how did we all know this? Like, how did that make its rounds?
That is so like.
No memes, no internet, no one texting each other. Text
I
messaging
mean, I had
doesn't
MTV.
exist. It wasn't on MTV. somehow we all knew it. And he was the kid off of
Here's
Wonder Years.
Here's the
Remember
thing,
that?
though.
He was the
He
kid.
was.
He was the kid off Wonder Years, and we all learned that too. And it was like, when did he become Marilyn Manson, the character? Right?
So I just introduced my 12-year-old to one of his songs, Sweet
Dope Show?
Dreams.
Sweet Dreams.
Sweet
Classic.
Dreams.
Yeah.
Remake off of who? What's that band's name?
It's well, we were listening
The
to
short blonde-haired woman, whatever her band was.
Oh, who's
The original
Oh.
Sweet Dreams are made of these. You know?
Yeah.
She's it was
what's the,
He's got it.
not the Cranberries.
Who is it,
It
Luke?
was
Our listeners that know are yelling at us right
I
now.
know.
Sorry, guys. We disappoint. For knowing all my bands, I don't know this one. Whoa. Luke, what's her name?
Annie Lennox.
Annie Lennox is not it. She was the lead singer for something else then. Same woman, I'm sure, but anyways, her group was called something. Yeah, whatever that is called. What's that word? Eurythmics.
Okay, so my 12-year-old, he comes upstairs one day and he says, "Mom, I got this really good song. It's brand new." And I
it's
was
brand new.
Yeah,
A
I was like,
classic.
okay. And so it's this song, the Rhythmics. And I'm like, dude, I was dancing to this song as a little girl. And he was blown that I knew all the words already because it was so new to him. He's like, how do you know this song? And I'm like, I got one for you. So then that's when I let him listen to Marilyn.
There you go.
So
Was
I
he a
don't think-
fan?
He'll listen to it every once in a while,
Nice.
but it's kind of funny.
I feel like this generation of kids are listening to older music more often. Is that am I correct in this assumption or no?
I feel like I have the oldest 12-year-old. He's a very old soul, and he comes up with like the oldest music.
You really?
But we also do let him watch YouTube, and he'll find music on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And so some of the songs are really good.
Yeah.
I think there's a correlation with obviously how readily available music is now.
Yeah.
And so, Casey, you and I both alluded to this earlier, but it's like if you grew up on something, right? That's what you know. That's what you seek out. That's what you listen to, and you can connect those music, those songs with some incredible nostalgic memories
Yeah.
of your childhood. You know, Luke here, his dad loves Kiss, and so he's like got such a great, fond memories of that with his childhood. So it's
Yeah.
like, dude. Nowadays, it's like kids can listen to whatever they feel like listen to on demand. I mean, like I remember recording music off the radio. That's something
Yeah.
that's really sad but true as far as how
You've
much
had
old
your
you
tape where you
yeah.
had to like run up and hit the record and play button at the same
And
time.
if you accidentally, for example, took this blank tape and recorded 3 good songs and then rewound it and listened to it and loved it or whatever, and you didn't remember to like perfectly stop it for the
Yep.
next recording, you just
Yep.
recorded over something else that you really liked with the
Yeah.
song that you wanted to record off the radio.
That was our first burn like CDs where we had to do the
a
tapes.
mixtape, if
A
you will.
mixtape. Yeah.
That's where it comes from, y'all. For people that didn't know what that meant when, Drake would drop one, that's where that came from.
Well, and music is huge in our lives. Like our son is Finnegan, and then our second child's named Vedder, and Vedder's
Oh,
Eddie Vedder.
Eddie Vedder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from Pearl Jam. And
My
so
gosh.
our kids have been exposed to music at a very young age, taking them to concerts and things like that. Appropriate concerts,
Sure.
but
What's been their favorite concert experience so far?
so we really are winning at it because my son liked this band, and I can't even remember, but it was a Christian band. And I was like, guys, I am a good mom. Look at me. Look at me. My kids listen to
Christian
Maverick City
music.
music?
Let's go.
like I was
Need to Breathe, Maverick City Music?
Skillet. Is that a Christian song?
I don't know.
I thought Skillet was like a
Skillet?
I don't know. I thought Skillet was like a late 90s like new metal band.
Yeah.
They might be Christian. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. So
Luke's going to be on the
Luke,
Googles.
figure
He's got
that
it.
out.
It's all good.
Figure
We're
that
gonna.
out. So
But
that
they
was
loved it.
his concert that he went to. The youngest one hasn't been to one yet.
What was your first concert?
He's only 6 for our
Oh man,
listeners. That's
my
understandable.
first concert was Reba McEntire
Let's go. Let's go.
and Vince Gillis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was
Nice.
so like, what the hell? I don't get to be up front and meet her. Like, this is bullshit.
You're like,
nobody.
This is how a
told
concert
me-
goes?
Like, nobody told me what a concert was going to look like. And I think I was like in 5th grade. So in my mind, I thought I'd be close to the stage, and
Yeah.
we definitely were not.
Yeah.
You watch live performances and you recognize, like, let's say, yeah, Skillet is both. So we found that out.
Oh, see?
You had it right. Everybody was right there. So you watch like concerts as a kid. I'll never forget like watching.
What's the difference between hard
Hanson.
rock and metal?
What do you mean? You tell us. Kyle.
Hard rock and metal?
You know that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point does something go from being hard rock to metal, you know?
You would know.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. When I see hard rock, I'm like, is it just like metal light?
Dude, if we're on
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut off your Hanson
story
thought
memories.
you
I
were
mean,
talking
I can't
about.
believe you're going to interrupt a Hanson story. But anyways, we're off the mic talking about like a band. And I'm like, hey, like this sounds like a metal band. He's like, no, dude. He's like, this is new age rock kick, whatever the hell. And I'm like, what? Kyle knows more subgenres than anybody. He like invented them before Spotify did.
I just make up shit.
It's unbelievable.
I told someone the other day, Red Dirt,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
He knows Red Dirt.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, oh,
He'll
that's-
correct me. That's Red
so
Dirt.
I felt really cool because I was like, Red Dirt, and they're like, oh yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
thanks.
No big deal.
Just learned that a couple days
Yeah,
ago.
they
Just
but-
dropped that vocab term on
I
you.
did.
Yeah.
It's probably my
So
wife's
slay.
favorite genre. Yeah.
All I was getting at is that when we were kids, you watch a concert on TV and you think that like because they have like that studio audience, like that's every concert, you know?
Yeah.
So my first concert experience, to go with what I was talking about earlier, was Paul Simon as a solo artist, right? No, Garfunkel there.
Yeah.
And I was up in the grass of Riverport Amphitheater, aka 17 different names, like every other amphitheater in the country, out of St. Louis. And he was a speck. Like he was a polka dot on the stage, and I was just like, "What are we doing here?" You know?
That's how I felt.
Yeah, I'm sitting on a blanket in the grass, just like playing with my toys. Like, what is this? But wish I could have paid attention to that Paul Simon concert nowadays, because
No
I actually, of
kidding.
course, love all his music.
Right?
But man, yeah, that was my first concert.
My first one was George Strait, and I was like the opposite. I was like, yes.
How
I was
old were you?
I was like a third grader. I was a huge George Strait fan. Still a huge George Strait fan.
What's not to love?
Yeah.
King George.
He's the man.
He really is.
Yeah, we're a fan. So, Casey, we've talked about nothing that has to do with what makes you an expert at all kinds of things. It is about
Talked
helping people.
everything not fitness, you know? So maybe we should talk some fitness.
Actually, I would disagree with you. I think that music and what we're talking about has everything to do with fitness. You're listening to it in your earbuds.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting motivation from it. You are meditating to it. It's helping us get through life.
I
And it's
agree
bringing
with
enjoyment.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So while yes, it's not macros and protein bars, it is something that we have,
Yeah.
and it helps us, and fitness helps us. So
And I'll tell you what,
There-
it definitely makes fitness easier. The amount of people that would just go home if they can't get their music to work or their headphones die or
Oh,
whatever
everyone
it may be,
knows that that's the worst.
you know,
And maybe somebody will be listening to their podcast with us.
That's true.
very possible.
There's plenty of studies out there that show that strength increase and effort increases when somebody's listening to music versus when they're not. So I think that it definitely plays a part. For me, like when I'm working out, if I don't have music on and I can't just kind of like take my mind away, that's like what I love about working out, is kind of being able to zone out and almost like meditate. What did
Disconnect, if you will.
Yeah.
we had a podcast with Aaron at one time, and he had a term for it that was beautiful. It was called
Aaron Becker?
no, it was meditating with a high heart rate or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Meditation
Meditation with a high heart rate.
yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be more true. I feel like you can disconnect.
But when you have music in, it makes it a lot easier to go to that place, in my opinion, and kind of just
drown everything else out.
Yeah.
What do you when you've done some like massive PRs before, Kyle, like in just some PRs that you've had in your life, going for a max out on something, do you put on a certain song?
225 when I was like, a 15-year-old, had to, flex on everybody.
Wow,
at high
wow
school.
dude. Had to tell everybody the first time you hit 225 at 15.
Everybody knows.
Wow.
Everybody knows about my bench, 225.
Hey, you know what, Kyle? Thank you for sharing. I didn't know. So
See, and now,
Two wheels if you're really with the down with the
and
kids.
let's be honest, how impressed
Hit
are
two
you?
wheels
Because
for a double.
yeah,
What were you listening to at 15 as you hit 225 for the first time? Which, by the way, is, I don't care who you are, everybody remembers hitting 225.
the reason I
first time
brought
on
that
a
up
bench.
is because that's
what's
when
it
you
gonna be
feel
like
like
for
a
you when you hit
man.
it,
You're
finally?
like, I have crossed. Luke's still working on it. He's at 185. He's working his way up, and I got him on a bench program, and I'm thinking that he should be there by, what do you think, 32? You'd be there, maybe. I don't know. He's got a ways. Anyways, we're talking about music I was listening to when I was 15.
Yeah, but when you hit a PR, because sometimes, like, dude, you have to put on a song
your
that
push
you know
song.
is going to like
Yeah.
help you get there. You know what I mean?
There's a girl that trains at our gym, and she's a coach at MC CrossFit. And I always put headphones in, and they play music over the thing. And she's always like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "I'm listening to what you would not want to listen to, and what nobody in this gym would want to listen to." And so she's always coming over and looking at my phone while I'm training. And the other day, she switched my phone onto the stereo. She Bluetoothed my phone onto the stereo, and I was listening.
Mortified.
I was listening. Oh, I don't care. Whatever. Yeah, I was listening to the Faceless first album, which is just noise to most people.
Deep cut.
It's literally just noise to people. And there's like 60-year-old ladies in there working out. It is 5 a.m. This was yesterday morning. It was 5 a.m. And I'm looking around. I'm like, what is it? And I started realizing like my headphones are out and this is being played on the music at the gym. And I just started laughing. And she was like, what is this?
What satanic?
She was like,
stuff
what are
is
you
this?
listening to? I was like, I told you that nobody on earth is going to want to listen to that except for me. So just, yeah, but that's what I listen to. I
You
typically
can't remember 15-year-old Kyle anymore?
Uh,
I mean, dude, everybody has a PR that they hit. I mean, this is a good clip.
we were
Everybody knows
15
they
at
hit.
the same time. Did you listen to rock when you were that age?
Yes, but I was listening to Disturbed as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So that was that was the big one.
Yeah, Disturbed
I
was
would
good.
I would absolutely. I remember when I was a freshman in high school for football, they made us all max out whatever.
Yep.
And had them put Korn Got the Life on.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I felt like I
That's
could
good
do a
one.
lot of things to Korn Got the Life.
Yeah.
Maybe POD Alive, Kyle. Come on, dude.
I listen to a lot of Master P make him say,
Oh,
come
yeah.
on now, let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah, that's what I was listening to for
I forgot
football.
about him.
Yeah.
When I was 19 years old, I
Silk the Shocker.
had a
you know?
PR on bench for 365. Hey, dude, Silk the Shocker. Isn't he dead? R.I.P.
No.
See murder?
Believe it or not, I wasn't
thought
keeping
it
up
was
on
so
Silk the
cool
Shocker.
because I knew
Look
of
him up.
those guys and listened to them a little bit. I just listened to them to say I was cool though.
Yeah.
I didn't really listen.
Did you happen to listen to anything whenever you were doing some crazy things with fitness? Do you have any songs that are memorable for you?
Honestly, I would say Disturbed was one of them. We always were listening to hard rock. Whatever the football players were listening to in high school is what we were listening to. So I felt like there was a lot of Disturbed, Korn for sure.
Yeah. The new metal age. You know what I was really into during that time was Seven Dust. They came out with the album Seasons.
I
That
of
was a
course know that
classic.
song, Luke, but that's not
Classic.
what we're looking for. We're looking for is he alive or not? Oh. Yeah. He was looking up.
You know what
Silk the
else I was
Shocker,
listening
It Ain't My
to
Fault,
back
which
then?
is a classic.
Which you had to listen to this and you had to make sure your mom didn't hear it. But like 3-6 Mafia, that's the first time I was really getting into 3-6 Mafia. I still love them.
What's not, dude? They're coming like that kind of Memphis rap is like coming back apparently.
Yeah, I love it.
So
I also listened to a lot of Green Day.
Yeah, Green Day is
Okay.
good.
Kind of forgot about those guys.
Blink 182, I can sing every single Blink 182 song there
Sublime.
ever was. Yeah, Sublime was good.
let's see him. Silk the Shocker.
Is he alive? Oh, he is.
Is Mystical alive? You guys remember Shake It Fast? Silk the Shocker. Man, what are the odds? I've watched a documentary on the rise of Master P. It's pretty incredible.
You know,
Is that on like Netflix or something?
One of the streamers. Yeah. Amazon.
do you
One of
guys
them.
remember the rapper Chingy?
Yeah, dude. It's from St. Louis.
Yeah,
Come
so
on, dude.
Chingy,
Holiday Inn.
Chingy
I
used
know.
to.
My husband would know all of this stuff way more than I would. But
He sang nothing chilling at the Holiday Inn. Oh, who
give me
you
another.
with?
Keep going.
Oh, right.
You're just messing with me.
Hold on.
trying to get me to
she want-
sing.
she's waiting for you
I
to
do
get
have
to
the voice of an angel. but-
right there.
Yeah. Oh, right there.
I believe he could be. I believe he's part of the people that helped with the popularity of using the phrase "there" versus
There.
"there."
He shopped with us
How
in our
white can
Brentwood
one person
store.
sound?
When I was managing our
Me.
Brentwood store, he came in and he shopped with me, and then he left. And Dave Stevens is like, "Dude, you know who that is?" And I was like, "No, that's Chingy, dog." And I was like, "I don't know who that is." He's like, "Holiday Inn." I was like, "Oh shit, okay, cool." He just seemed
remember
like a
that
normal dude to me.
That was a Snoop Dogg song in my head.
Yeah.
Anyway, so fitness.
Fitness. Yeah.
Talk to me, Casey. All right. So here's what's cool. You've got an amazing gym out, Blue Springs, but it's not Blue Springs. It's Grain Valley.
Yeah. You got it. Nailed it.
Grain Valley, and it's Beyond Fitness KC. Tell us how that started, specifically, because you do something different than most gyms. Like it's a totally different community. If I were a member, right, what would I expect from Beyond Fitness KC?
Oh, and what a great question. So what you would expect is this unconditional support, right? And I feel like with the health and wellness industry that we are in, it's either you're part of a gym or you're not part of that gym. And so what I'm wanting to do is I want to merge people to know that whether they're part of my gym or not, they're always part of the gym. They don't ever get excluded. It's no conditioned, right? I feel like I was always, I felt as a child that my love was conditioned. If I did X, Y, and Z in sports, or if I did this in academics, I was loved.
Kind of based on achievement, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so it's nice to be able to support men and women to come into the gym and know that they're going to be supported whether they're failing in their fitness or not. And if they're failing, we're going to help them find a way to fix it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's never like if you come to my gym, you have to come to my gym. It's like, okay, you want Pilates? I'm going to show you where to go for Pilates. You want CrossFit? I'm going to show you the gyms that I trust for CrossFit. And so it's a collaborating with other gyms in the area to give this big collective community.
Yeah, I feel like you guys, just in my conversations with you outside of this podcast, you've done a great job of explaining to me that, you make it very clear that everybody that you meet is on somewhere in their fitness journey. And like, we're going to help you no matter what that, if we can support you personally, great. But my goal is to just keep you on the journey.
Correct.
And being, intentional about it.
Right.
Present to it, and not just saying, you know what, I don't have a vacation coming up for 6 months, so I'm just going to really put my health and fitness on the back burner.
Right. Because I think that as people, we all have that all or nothing mentality. I'm going to speak for myself. I have that all or nothing mentality. And so once I got myself out of that and realized that it's all for me, it really changed the way my nutrition and my health looked, because I know I'm never going to stop. I can't. I have children. I want to be able to run with them. I want to be able to run with my grandchildren. And so I know that I have to do this the rest of my life. And so once I realized that, then it becomes like this evolution of what it looks like. I'm getting ready to hit middle age more so. And so I have to think of women's stuff, menopause and all of that. How do I want to get myself set up for success for that? And to know that my fitness journey is going to evolve and look like something else in the next 5 years, and being open to experimenting with it too.
Seasons. People go through different seasons with working out. Like I definitely went through, a portion of my life where being strong was important to me. And now I'm more into a season where, being in good cardiorespiratory fitness is important to me. I think you really, as far as your gym goes, setting it up to where it's a good support system. The older I get and the more I've been in the fitness industry, I feel like the more and more that is the most underrated thing about getting people actual results is like, if you're surrounded by the wrong people, it doesn't matter if you have the best training program. It doesn't matter if you have the best diet. It doesn't matter if you have all the tools necessary. If you have somebody who's a constant bad influence on you, who's constant negative influence on you, it is going to be miserable to try and improve your life from a fitness standpoint.
I love that, dude.
Beautiful that you guys are, that's the first thing that you say about your gym is that.
That's awesome. And I think that, I don't want to break you from what you wanted to say there, but you came in here wearing a Beyond Fitness sweatshirt that says control the negative. And so I think that's a great segue into, what is that mission? What is that sentiment to you and what made it, shirt worthy, if you will?
Well, I think what I love about this shirt is that there's 2 gyms represented on it, not just my gym. On the back, there's another gym, Ironclad Training, and he actually is a personal trainer in Oak Grove, where I live, and he works, he trains at our gym and all that. And so it's a collaboration, and it shows that it's a collaboration the gym is. So it's not just me, it's all these trainers and all of these people that do energy work that we can all come together. When it comes to control the negative, first of all, we were talking about weights. Mm-hmm. Control the negative when you're going down, right? Don't just slam down into a squat. Mm-hmm. But to bring the Beyond Fitness spin on it, it's also control the negative. What you're bringing in and consuming, is that negative or positive? Who are you surrounding yourself with? And so that kind of was a really nice play on both of it, where Jason and I were both like, I'm like, we got to get you a shirt. I'll put your logo on it too.
I love that. And when you're talking about what you consume, I think the fitness industry, me and Kyle have been around a long time, to the point where we remember kind of when the segue was happening, this transition, this evolution of the fitness industry went from being based on who won which bodybuilding shows.
Yep.
And, who's on the cover of what magazine, that's how old we are, to who is the most famous on social media. And like, as a great example for our listeners, Paige Hathaway was one of the very first social media fitness influencers that became uber famous through social media because she placed like 3rd or 4th in a local show in Oklahoma when she was getting started. But because of her, model looks and her ability to connect with her audience on a very real level, she became extremely popular. Yep. And Jamie Eason was, I think, like the last. That's a real, Jamie Eason, right?
Yeah.
She was bodybuilding.com's first lady, right?
Oh, I mean, I followed a ton of her programs.
Mm-hmm. And she was great. And she was a great fitness model, and she did a phenomenal job as far as connecting, but she wasn't huge on social media yet. She was slow to get on there. And I don't even know what she looks like nowadays. You know what I mean? It's been over 10 years since I've looked up Jamie Eason.
I know I'm going to do that today now.
Right.
Thank you.
Right. But Paige Hathaway, it's all I'm getting at is like social media now is, I think, where everybody thinks of when they think of who's famous when it comes to fitness, outside of people who've achieved, CrossFit athlete, or, number one, fittest on earth. Trying to think of other, big fitness
Chris
names.
Bumstead.
Yeah. Basically you just do not have to perform well at a sport of any sort, whether it be bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, to become famous in fitness.
Correct.
And, controlling the negative. How do you feel like social media plays a role in your gym when it comes to people's viewpoints of themselves? Hey guys, real quick message just to tell you that we appreciate you listening to our podcast. If you didn't already know, podcasts are completely ranked based on the level of subscriptions that they have. Our mission here at Protein Bros Podcast is to connect our listeners one laugh, one story, one person at a time to our Midwest fitness community and do everything we can to support local fitness. So if you are a fan of local fitness, I do hope that you consider subscribing. We do not charge for anything on this podcast, and we do not run any ads. If you are a fan of Protein Bros Podcast, I hope that you tune in to future episodes and subscribe on all platforms. Thank you guys again for your support. Let's get you back to the episode.
Oh man, I think that social media for me, actually for myself, it's a slippery slope because I draw a lot of boundaries for myself. I'm a huge boundary driven person, and I speak about that a lot with the women at the gym. And so it is like you follow the people that are giving you good information, valid information. I have this, and it's really hard because I don't have a gym to take photos of women working out. That's not what I like to do because it is so hard for someone to walk into a gym and then to sit there and have your trainer taking photos of them. I feel like is very imposing. Mm-hmm. So that's something I struggle with. Like I should put that more out on the gym space and all that. I'm not really answering your question, but I feel like with the women, we are such a small group that our feeds are a lot the same. Yeah. And that I think that it's just been crazy to watch the whole social media thing pull up. So I'm trying to give them information that's valid and well to them and not give them
generic
crap.
General.
Right.
What's if you've been in the fitness industry for a long time, it's hard for me to even like read some posts because it's all just regurgitation of some other post.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? It's like people.
Or at this point, just ChatGPT.
People creating content to create content. And it's like, and you know what? I shouldn't feel like that because there's tons of people out there who are finding fitness for the very first time, who are reading a post that is a regurgitated post from a billion other posts, but it's the first time that person's reading it and they're getting value out of it. It just seems like, just like anything else, you kind of go through seasons with social media too, where it's like at one point that stuff was a lot more valuable to me than it is now.
Well, and I will tell you on a personal standpoint, when it came to, when 2020 happened in COVID, I really shut down and didn't post a lot. So I'm just now actually starting to get my own brand back and going and actually actively posting on social media. So I do think like what you're reading is not necessarily true all the time, right? But also, I'm a huge person of I don't kill people's joy. So if somebody comes to me and they've read a post that got them excited, and I don't agree with the post, I sit in a space and hold space for them, and I let them talk through it, and I don't kill their vibe on something fun that they're excited about.
Nobody likes that person that you're like excited about something, you want to talk about it, and then they freaking just like stomp on it. You're just like, oh, you suck.
I think that's the hardest thing for me as a business woman and as a personal trainer is that you have all these people, they come to you and they're so excited about something, and I might not agree with it, but I really try and hold space and just listen and then support them through that process.
Right.
And then it's giving them recommendations, what would it look like if we did this, or you're still this, then what if, and letting them come to that conclusion. But I try to always hold space, especially when they're on that social media platform and they're like, hey, have you heard about intermittent fasting and what I'm going to do and da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay, so what's that going to look like for you? Instead of going into this whole,
That's not the best because of this.
Here's what I've learned too is I feel like a lot of people that are staunchly against things all the time, that is coming from like almost a place of insecurity. Totally. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like
scarcity mindset.
It's a scarcity mindset where they're like, no, you have to listen to me.
Yeah.
You have to come to me for your advice.
Yeah,
and
I don't preach that.
If you don't listen to what I preach, if you don't come to me and you're getting advice from social media, then where's my value? You know what I'm saying?
And I think like I would tell you that that's why I have a gym at such later in my life, because.
So you haven't been in the fitness industry. I don't want to cut Kyle off earlier when he was like, "If you've been in the fitness industry a long time," I'm like, you haven't been in the fitness industry a long time, right?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I fell in love with my husband in the gym in high school. How sweet is that?
About as sweet as how you said it.
So
he broke the cardinal rule. He hit on a girl in the gym.
Storybook.
Do it. Tell me you weren't
actually,
doing hip thrusts, because that's a mortal sin now.
And I looked right at my husband in his eyes when I did it. I was like,
he was actually, she was doing the Susan, what's her name? Suzanne Summers.
Right.
That is so awkward. That video is the most awkward video. I can't believe that was in a movie. Sorry. Anyways, keep going.
So I actually, I found solace in high school in the gym, right? I found it at a very young age. I struggled with panic, anxiety attacks, hid it from the world, and dealt with it in high school by myself. Then I found 24-Hour Fitness back in the day. They're now like Genesis is around the area or whatever.
All of them are different, yeah.
Yeah. And so I
But it was a health club. It was like your first health club.
That was my first time walking into a health club, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is amazing. And then I ended up working there and
kind of a country club vibe without the golf course.
Yes. And so I ran the big store at 119th and Metcalf. It's closed now, but I managed that whole store. And so I was there, and then I decided I needed like a corporate job, like a real big kid job. And then I got into like commercial overhead doors, boring stuff, but that's great. So I've had the gym for 5 years though. So after I had my second child, that's when life was like, okay, it is now time for me to open the gym. And we've known, so I've been with my husband since I was 16, and we've probably known since I was 16 I would own a gym.
That's amazing.
So it was something.
Just a matter of when.
It was just a matter of when. And, the saying, like, you can have everything you ever want it. You just can't have it all at once.
Yeah.
And Kyle, you'll probably be going through this. You have little ones right now. And so I got to be home.
They suck your life away.
Yeah. But I got to be home with them. And then when it was time for me to start the gym, they were older and they were more established. And I could kind of start to focus on that a little bit more.
Yeah. I think that's an under talked about aspect of owning a business, is that it's not always about, do you have the right business plan? Do you have, all these things in line as far as like business model, yada, yada, yada. Sometimes it's just about time, is your timing right? Is the timing of, the market right? Is there demand for what you're trying to do? Do you have enough space in your life to be able to give it,
Yeah, you mentioned holding space, and it's like, you got to have enough space to be able to really make it work. Like, can I really put all my energy into this? And sounds like after child number 2, you were like, okay, I'm ready to leap into this role.
Yeah. And then, it's a lot of collaborating with your spouse on the kids' side of logistics.
Yep.
Yeah, that is a lot. What do you got going on here?
So I know Kyle so well that he heard me say Suzanne Summers,
Oh.
and he was thinking of Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, this isn't what you were talking about?
Not at all. But I knew that Kyle was this like just completely off.
I was so wrong, but this is the most awkward thing.
I can't believe they put this in a movie. And I was like, he's thinking of Jamie Lee Curtis and John Travolta. Look, how cute. How sweet.
Look at this.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yeah, dude. Eye contact, hip thrusting.
What is this?
Yeah.
This is a movie, dude.
It didn't get a lot of play, but this scene has.
Jesus, what on earth?
Yeah, dude.
This is the most awkward scene that's ever graced.
We actually
the big
offer
screen.
this at our gym.
And not only that, but actually, Casey and her husband modeled themselves meeting each other off of that scene.
Bro. Well, hold on.
Gross,
If that wasn't
it's a beautiful thing, Kyle.
If that wasn't what you were talking about, the hell were you talking about?
So now go to Thigh Master.
Thigh
Master by Suzanne Summers,
Yeah.
which was like a #1 selling fitness video.
Another awkward one.
But a real fitness video that was for sale, and it was a real piece of fitness equipment. And so, anywho, that's why I called it Suzanne Summers, right?
Yeah.
Come on now, show it off. Doesn't have to be a video.
God, dude, we've been
Just
business
take
partners
that
too
photo
long.
right
You were
down
able
there.
to read my mind like that.
Yeah, dude.
That's actually really amazing. That's impressive because
Yeah.
you literally like lit up too because you knew
I was
exactly.
like,
he's wrong. He doesn't know what I'm talking about. But
she was talking about something like heartbreaking, and I had the biggest smile on my face because I discovered that Kyle was so wrong. Anyways, this is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Kyle's over here talking about Jamie Lee Curtis. Anyways, so there's something I wanted to talk to you about.
Jamie Lee Curtis, though, way more awkward than that.
Yeah,
Like,
Halloween H2.
Yes.
Wow.
Was a good movie. She's been crazy in all the Halloweens.
Yeah.
What was their other one? Freaky Friday. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to your boundaries, because we talked about this, and I would like to know, because it was a really, it sounded like it's something that was pivotal or in your life to where you knew that this was something that you needed to instill in the women and the men that work out at Beyond Fitness. When you were scrolling social media, can you give me an example of maybe an account that you remember that you deliberately unfollowed because of maybe the comparison game or the negativity that you were getting from it?
Yeah, actually there was a little local space where I'm at and they were putting out content that was really similar to mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what the hell? Oh my gosh. And then I was like, hold on.
They're just copying me.
Right. So I'll talk about like my big self, like who I am and what I'm about. And then that little self is that little devil that just plays negative bullshit in your ear. Right. And so that is like, I will watch myself when I'm in social media and I start going into that comparison game. And then once you go comparison, then you go lack of abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so then I have to honor the thought and go, okay, I hear you. So this is also like Beyond Fitness, right?
For sure it is.
It's not just fitness for me anymore. It's so much more than that. It's the meditation, the mindfulness, the yoga. It's a whole nutrition. But literally when you sit in that space, I honor it though. When I go into that negative space, I'm like, okay, Linda, sorry if there's any Lindas listening, but that's what I call it. I'm like, okay, Linda, I hear you. And then if I unfollow, I hardly ever unfollow. I just don't search people, right?
Sure.
My goal is not to search, and I don't want to unfollow because I want them to know that I'm actually rooting for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's that small little self of me, that doubt, that insecurity that's speaking. So I honor it.
Right.
And then I go do something positive to shift my mindset.
That takes an incredible amount of self-awareness,
Yes.
that you're talking about. And so I think fitness, for a lot of people, it can numb, right? It can help them disassociate from things they don't want to deal with.
Yep.
So they call it their therapy, but I'm like, it's actually the anti in this scenario. And my girlfriend, she talks about this with me, where she used to use fitness specifically to completely not deal with stuff.
Right.
And so my question to you is, where did you first get introduced to the level of introspection that it sounds like you have? Because you use phrases that I don't feel like are very common in today's day and age. And it may be very common in your circle, but certainly not something I think have discussed on this podcast, which is, holding space is a great example of a phrase that not a lot of people, I think, use on a day-to-day, right? Talking about, you identify it, sit in it. What was the phrase that you used for when you have one of these Linda moments?
Like small self.
You were talking about big self, small self. Like these are for our listeners that maybe haven't had this experience. And we do have a lot of young listeners that I'm sure could use this level. This would be very helpful information. What do these things mean when you say big self or little self?
So the big self is like who you are and what you really stand for. It's like, I know who I am. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to do it. And it is like your dharma, like you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what you are truly.
Your values exemplified.
Everything. Yes. Okay. That small self, that is the anxiety, the fear, just the bullshit stuff that
what people are thinking of me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so that kind of creeps into your brain and starts to create those negative thought patterns. And then you can really go into those rabbit holes, especially with social media. Mm-hmm. You can sit there and scroll and, be on there for an hour just thinking about
scroll.
So
yes, like, man, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. And so then what? And not to cut you off.
No, I was cutting you off.
What I was always taught is like, when you go into these moments, move and keep going. Don't think about it. Mm-hmm. Like how many times I was told as a child, like, oh, just go sit in a room and when you're done, come back out. And I was like, okay. Then I would come back out. Well, now it's like, it's kind of like telling someone, don't think anymore or don't breathe. Well, you have to breathe to fucking live, right? Can we curse?
You can curse.
You're going to have to stop cursing.
Yeah. No, sorry. But you have to have thoughts. Thoughts come just like your breath. You can't stop them. Mm-hmm. And so it's teaching.
Well, disassociation, I believe, is the stopping of thoughts.
Right. But you also have to like be aware of it and don't let it control you.
That could take somebody their whole life.
Well, go to therapy.
Yeah. My point.
Do you think when you were talking about, so you'd said that you grew up and you had anxiety, panic. I can relate to that a little bit. Do you have, you say you practice yoga now and you do meditation. Have those things been primary, besides working out, have those been, things that are very helpful for you in dealing with anxiety and dealing with, thoughts, negative thoughts?
Yeah, I think that
little self, as you said.
Yeah, I think for myself, it really started when I was in high school dealing with that. And I was like, I have to figure this out. And so I've always been a huge advocate for myself, which I'm very lucky that I've been driven in that way. So I did go to therapy at a very, like when I was 23, 24, I started going to therapy and I just didn't stop. Mm-hmm. I used it as I got older, I used it as a way to check myself. You have these thoughts of maybe social media, like, why did I get so into this? And so you can go to someone and like hear their perspective and they give you tools to help you kind of think about it a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. And so I started that at a very young age. I also walked into my first yoga class at 22. So I was already open to the idea of what else is out there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the other key too, is like, in this fitness world, you're so like, this is the way. I have to lift weights. But do you really have to? Could you? Like, if you were to put one yoga class into your weekly routine, how would that change you lifting weights? Because I bet you're using muscles that you didn't realize you weren't using, one. And it's going to increase you actually lifting more and all of that. It's going to increase your core strength, which then creates stronger limbs and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Better mobility.
Exactly. All that stuff. And so it was just, it was something, mental health was always on my forefront of like, I've got to make sure I'm doing okay or whatever. And it actually became a way that it helped create resiliency in my life. We've had some trauma in our life and I didn't lose my shit. Mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. You're able to sit in a space and then create this self-love space where you're like, I'm going to melt down right now and it's going to be okay. And then you can go, okay, now I'm good. Yeah. And you don't have that guilt and shame of those emotions. You have daughters. They're going to be emotional. And so it's
already
right. And so it's like sitting in that space, you sit in that space to open for them and they can they can be emotional and it's okay. Mm-hmm. So we talk a lot about emotions with our boys too.
Yeah.
Like that's I told one of our boys the other day, he's like, why were you downstairs? I was like, I was being emotional. So I needed to give myself some space. And then I said, do you think you'll be emotional someday? And he's like, I think when I get older, I'll have some more emotions. I'm like, okay.
Probably. That sounds about right.
Yeah, he's like, maybe one day. But I'm sure I'm going to get married,
And you know, the reason why we talk about this is because I said, like, you know, it's in the name of the gym. It's Beyond Fitness. And for so many, they get into fitness because of those reasons that are beyond fitness.
Yeah.
Right?
You said something too in that you were talking about, you know, basically breaking down the stereotypes of fitness and, you know, you know, you're supposed to lift weights, but do you have to lift weights? You know, and I think that's another thing that has changed in my mind.
Are you supposed to lift weights, Kyle?
That's something that's changed in my mind, you know, as as I've gotten older, is like if you, a lot of people go into it thinking, okay, well, you know, I'm supposed to lift weights, I'm supposed to do cardio, but they're not thinking of like, what's their end goal? Like, why are you even doing fitness? Like for me, my end goal is like, I want to have a better quality of life, you know, when my grandkids are around. Right. So I don't want to like just wither away and just kind of die. You know, I want to have like a great life up until I die. And, if I'm thinking about that and you're thinking about like, you know, well, in that case, do you need to be squatting heavy as shit, you know, twice a week, you know, into my, you know, I don't know if that's going to be the best thing for me as far as longevity goes, you know, and I don't know if a lot of people think about it like that. And so they get into, so if you think about it like that, fitness is just, you know, what can you have fun at doing for the longest period of time where you actually continuously do it. And a lot of people, they don't like fitness because they're like, okay, fitness is this in this box. These are the things that I have to do for fitness. And if I don't do those things, I'm not doing fitness. Right.
Right.
And that's where like a lot of people are like, I just don't like lifting weights. And so I'll talk to them and be like, so don't lift weights. You know what I'm saying? They're like shocked. They're like, wow, you're telling me I don't have to lift weights? I'm like, no, you can play racquetball. You can play, you know, pickleball.
You can do yoga.
You can do TRX. You can
do Pilates. You can do
know,
Orange
like,
Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, think about too, you literally started with saying, you know, lifting weights and cardio and all this stuff. And when you start listing all these things off, that can get really overwhelming for someone who's new at this.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, having fun, right? I actually had a woman one time tell me like, this is not fun. This is not supposed to be fun. And I'm like, then you're in the wrong business, because we are trying to get these people motivated to take care of themselves. And it should be fun, you know?
If it's going to stick.
Well, you also,
you got to do it on days where you don't feel like doing it.
So it starts off as fun, and then that's what kind of gets people hooked, right? And then they start. So I teach this class called TRX yoga, okay? And it is why I created Beyond Fitness. It has these TRX suspension trainers that hang from like a pull-up bar, right? And you do yoga on them. So what I love about it is a bridge for someone who just lifts weights and is not open to yoga. I'll say, come on, let's do TRX yoga. And they're like, and I'm like, promise you, just try it. I give them TRX yoga, someone who's strength training. And okay, that's TRX yoga. But anyways, I give them TRX yoga, and then they go, holy hell, that was hard. That was really great. Okay. So I just took a strength trainer now, and that person can be like, you know what? I might go try yoga now.
Yeah.
Right. So I bridged that gap for them to try something else. I take a yoga person and I'm like, hey, you should do a weightlifting class with me. And they're like, no, I don't lift weights. I'm like, why don't you come do TRX yoga with me? And I give them a TRX strap, and then it gives them a go, wow, that was actually really fun. Maybe I will come to a strength training class with you. So it's this like little bridge that kind of teaches people like, you can still do yoga and it just look different. Or,
it's a good opening or a gateway, if you will, to something else, because it connects them with something that they're already comfortable with, and then brings in this new thought pattern or belief system that they could possibly enjoy quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it really is a lot of fun.
It's fun. There's also, if you're a fitness professional and you don't have the ability to like kind of read the person that is coming to your class and realize, you know, there are the people out there that are high level athletes that it's not going to be fun for them all the time. Right. Right. You know, but then there's also Gen Pop, where it's like you're just trying to make sure that they come back and that they're enjoying it, and that, you know, they are taking a longer, you know, perspective in things. And if you are treating those two groups as the same, man, you have no, you know, sensory acuity and ability to read the situation. So.
And I think that's also why I enjoy the space is we have people that are beginners. We keep the classes really small.
For our listeners, I apologize to interrupt, but can you talk us through like what is at Beyond Fitness in the sense of, is it all class based? Is it got a separate, you know, one-on-one sessions for training? Can somebody have a general membership and show up on their own and work out? So what are we looking at as being a member?
So Beyond Fitness is a small group gym. So we offer small group classes, and the max that we have in a class is 15. We don't take any more. And I don't even like to have 15, but that's how much the space can hold comfortably. You can pay monthly and go to unlimited classes, or you can just do a drop-in, right? Because not only do we offer like strength and endurance type classes, we do offer yoga. We offer a fascial release yoga class as well, where we're using tools, to stretch out our bodies, and then yoga flows and all that jazz. We have dance hip hop as well. So we do have a variety of classes.
Kyle's favorite.
Yeah.
Dude, I was going to say that about you.
I beat you to it.
But I know I am.
I also know what you're thinking all the time.
Yeah, because the other thing too is
She's like, I'm going to skip right over that.
I'm going to keep talking. Just kidding. If I don't keep talking, then he'll like say something else and keep going on another tangent.
That's true.
I'm holding back.
That's true.
Don't you worry.
But yeah, so then you have these small group classes, and then we also do private personal training. So you can have a personal trainer and all of that. We also have a massage therapist that's there on site. We partner with a physical therapist as well. And then I love connecting with other local spaces. So it's really nice, like Supplement Superstore, they're in Blue Springs. So I literally can tell my clients, hey, just go up there, they'll take care of you. What I love is they walk in, my clients do it, and the guys are always like, oh, Casey's great. I'm like, oh, I knew they were going to take care of you. So that's really nice that I have that too. But just partnering with others as well.
Yeah, we have.
It goes with Beyond Fitness, though. I think that's so great that it all obviously correlates well. There's so many ways you can take Beyond Fitness. And I think that you guys do a phenomenal job of making it seamless, where it correlates so well in every aspect that you're doing it in, right? For it be a mental space or getting them help as far as where they're needing it, even if it's not inside the gym.
Yeah.
You are taking care of them on every aspect.
Well, and the other thing, just like you were saying, is reading the room. It's like we have these small group classes, so you get almost private personal training without that price point. Mm-hmm. But if you have someone who loves that heavy lifting barbell complex or whatever, and it's programmed in, we can take that person and give them their space, while we can take someone who's brand new to the gym and give them their space. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like we're holding anyone back, but we're also not pushing someone far beyond their where they're at.
Nice.
So
yeah, the whole notion of I'm gonna recommend other local businesses. We fully believe in that too. All, rising tides raises all ships, and so we're always trying to do whatever we can to support people that are actively trying to make Kansas City a healthier place. Right. Because we can't do it on our own. It's like for us, somebody comes into our store, they're like, I'm trying to get in better shape, and you're like, oh, where do you work out at? I don't go to the gym. What are you doing here first? That's
right.
you need to get to the gym. Like
we talk about diet.
We can sell you protein powder, but
come
on, you need to get. The gym is where it all starts. So, having a good network of people that we can trust is super important to us.
Yeah, and the other thing that I love too is logistics. Right? Mm-hmm. Because everything is logistics. So where are you at? Okay, well, it doesn't make sense for you to go to this gym. Go to this gym. Or, not that it doesn't make sense, but you can give them other spaces to go to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'll have people all the time that will call me and they don't even live close to where I'm at. And I'm like, these are the gyms that I know of that I trust. Mm-hmm. Like, go there. It doesn't make sense for you to drive 45 minutes to my space.
Well, trying to build a lifestyle habit.
I was about to say that's just you being aware of removing friction. So if you have a bunch of friction built up in between you and working out, like a drive that's long and you're dealing with traffic, and then that they have kids, it's like, well, all that friction is going to eventually build up to the point where they don't go to the gym, and it's like, if you actually care about people, you're just going to try and remove as much of that friction as possible so that they can continuously go to the gym. And
I think they feel comfort whenever I say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh wow, okay, she gets it. Like she gets that. Okay.
Your heart is in the right place. You're genuinely just helping.
Yeah. It's like
solving their problem.
Logistically, this doesn't sound like it will work, but this could work for you. Mm-hmm. How can we make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Let me call this gym owner and let them know you're coming.
Yeah.
With that being said, you're extremely intentional in all the things that you're doing and making sure that you are helping them for real, not just making a sale or whatever. How are you personally, what do you do, right? Better question I could ask is, what are you personally being intentional about right now in your fitness journey?
Ooh, I love that question. So I just recently finished my 200-hour YTT, which is yoga teacher training. So I just finished that. And right now what I'm really being intentional on is my yoga practice and moving with that. I have been so like all about the business and like getting up and lifting weights at 5 o'clock in the morning and beating the crowd. When I say the crowd, I just mean my class that starts. I try to get up first thing and work out, because if I don't, then my rest of the day is not owned by me, right? I can
The
only
rest of the day is kind of dictated to you.
Yes. And I can usually be pretty mindful of what that looks like, but sometimes kid stuff happen. And so right now I'm just creating space for myself to practice yoga and practice breathing. And then meditations. Like right now I'm going through chakra meditations, and I'm practicing them myself, and then also trying to incorporate the kids a little bit with breathing and stuff like that.
How is chakras, meditation? I say that right, by the way. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No, you're fine.
The chakras meditation, how does that, compare to somebody, for example, who just downloads a meditation app on their phone? You know what I mean?
Well, so your body has these chakras, like, your third eye, and they're colored, right? And I'm not going to get in the weeds with you all, but
sure.
What we can do is when I figure out my meditation, I'll come to the space. That was my meditation voice. I'll come to the space and do this for you guys, and you can tell me if it works. But
sounds good.
But it's a meditation. So have you ever heard of a body scan?
I mean, an in-body scan.
Yeah, we got in-body scanners.
Plug. That's too.
Did you
sorry.
guys
That's 2 faction, 8
Did
of
you
them.
guys realize what you're getting yourself into by having me here? That we're going to talk about crazy shit.
I was psyched.
Okay, so
This is my favorite kind of things to talk about.
So a body scan is basically a form of meditation where you shut down your eyes and you scan from your toes all the way to your head. Like you scan your body. What are tensions coming up? Where are you holding? Like sometimes, like right now, where are you holding tension? Are you like squeezing your quads just sitting there? And then like relax. Like are we squeezing our butt cheeks, right? Just sitting here? Okay, well then we relax, right? So it
Stop
takes
clenching,
you,
Luke. Sorry.
right?
That bussy.
Stop clenching, dude.
So it takes you through the whole body, and right, it's trying to calm you down. So with the chakras are, you have like your root. I can't even think of them all right now, but you have all throughout your body. And they're with a color. Okay. So my goal for this meditation is to start with a white light and to start people meditating from their root chakra, which is red. And so that white light will change to red. And then I'm going to have an affirmation for them. Thank you. So you have your root, your sacral, solar, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. And so then each of these have the colors. So with this meditation, I'm going to start off with a white light, and we're going to change the color as we breathe and think of those spaces throughout the body. So that's kind of what that's about. Does that make sense?
No, genuinely, it does. I think it does a great, I don't know, like, let's say, like, level of time that you would have to take between each one, et cetera.
Yeah.
What kind of journey are you on mentally as you do this? Or what do you intend? What's your intention at each level, if you will?
I feel
there's
like,
a lot you can go into there. I'm
right.
assuming,
And my intention for this is something new for people, not for myself per se, but for others. And so I usually like to start my meditations off like 5 to 10 minutes.
Sure.
Right? Because we got stuff going on in our brains. And so not that I want to rush the process, but I want them to have an experience where they can feel a little bit of relief knowing it's not going to be an hour long.
Totally. Yeah. What am I signing up for here? Right.
Right.
It
Exactly.
sounds really committal.
I did.
Yes.
I meditated every morning for like probably 6 months, and the beginning of it is so hard to like actually shut your mind off.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, you're just running through like, it's like, yeah, I can sit here and not do anything, but I'm going to like be going through a Rolodex of shit in my head about like what I have to do later,
Yeah.
And I had just an app, and it would just say like,
and
hey,
that's perfect.
listen to the music or listen to the noises outside. Do you hear a car? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like trying to get you to get out of your own head.
Yeah.
But once you do that and you can actually clear your head, it's kind of like working out, where it's like, once you get into that, mode of I'm not doing anything else. I'm not thinking about anything else. It's like hitting the refresh button on your computer. You're just like, you feel way better.
And so then when I was talking about creating space for myself, that's kind of another way to create some space for myself, you know.
Ground yourself, if you will.
Yeah, exactly.
I got a question for you with your 6-year-old. So I have a 3-year-old that I'm in charge of every other week.
Okay.
All right.
I'm in charge of.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm quickly becoming a stepdad in this situation.
Okay.
And I love her to death. She's been living with me for a year. Her name's Addie. She's amazing. But like, she was going to her daycare today, right? And mom's car wasn't working, so I was in charge of dropping off mom and picking up, you know. So bottom line, I'm dropping her off, and she's just like upset as hell. And she's not typically upset, but she's upset because she's going to be bored there.
At school?
No. She's going to daycare.
Oh, at daycare.
She said she's going to be bored there because the kids there are much younger than her. They're all like 1. They can't talk to her. And she just was bawling because she was going to be so bored. And she wanted to go to her dad's because her dad's isn't as boring, right? So now it's getting personal, you know? And I'm like, okay, you need to learn how to be bored. In my head, I'm like, you need to learn how to sit with yourself even at 3. Like, you need to learn that it's okay to just like play with rocks and sticks. Shout out Kim Combs, who taught me that, you know? Kyle's wife's like,
My wife's a savage.
Kyle's wife, I'm like, do you guys not have any toys at this cabin? She's like, rocks and sticks.
And she's serious. She's like, there's woods right there. Like, what are you talking about?
Go.
Yeah.
Go play.
And they will.
Yeah. And like, I'm dropping off Addie, and she's like, Mickey's only got 2 toys. And I'm like looking at these baller, like Little Tikes cars outside that you can get in, and like, you know, Fred Flintstone around the driveway. And she's like, she's only got 2. And I was like, you entitled shit.
You make sure to say that to the kids too. That's good for them.
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to create any trauma there.
Yeah. Definitely not. So I mean, come on. So bottom line, I was like, what do I do here in this situation? Because I'm like, man, how do I have so, you know, how do you take your 6-year-old who, for example, like, we're all trying as adults to figure out how to meditate and sit with ourselves. How do you get a kid do that and like get them to value it, I guess?
It's a really great question. So for myself, I don't share like, hey, you're going to come down here and meditate. What I do is I open the door and I let them see what I'm doing. Right. So during my 200-hour course, I was literally stuck in the basement Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And so when I would practice actual physical yoga, I would open up my door and allow the boys to come in and out and watch. And then I would even allow them, and I say allow, but then the vetter would be like, can I do this? And I'm like, yeah.
And can I ask for the listeners, what are they seeing whenever they walk in and see what you're doing? Are you sitting, you know, crisscross applesauce on the ground? Are you laying down? Are you sitting? Kyle's sitting there listening to an app, right? Like, how does meditation look to you?
So typically it was a guided meditation on a Zoom call. And so I'm very fortunate. We have a yoga studio in our basement. And so I really set the scene for that. That's my basement. Thank you. I burn Palo Santo. I usually have some kind of music playing. And so there's like this smell to it. There's like a feel to it. There's heat. I put heat on down there as well. And I sit on a pillow that was made when my grandfather passed away. They took some of his old suspenders and created like a cushion for me. And so that's my meditation cushion. And so that's what they see whenever they walk in on me, is meditating is sitting like that. And so then I'll just let them talk about it. Or I'll say, come sit down. Or sometimes, in your case, like I would have asked Vetter, especially, I have photos of both kids where they sit and they open their palms up and we just breathe. And I'll have like, inhale. Okay, now hold. And I make it fun. Mm-hmm. And so like I'll practice breathing with them. I'll practice like, what do you feel? Like, what do you feel? Do you feel the sun? Do you feel the wind? Do you feel the heat? I'll ask them, what do they see? You know, can you see the grass blades like, you know, go side back and forth? And so I just I allow them to come into my space when I'm doing it so they can see it. And then they start to get intrigued with it. My 6-year-old, he melts down a lot. And so I just give him space to do it. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing with kids is that, you know, one, exposing, not forcing. Right.
Yeah.
So like for me, I work out in our basement a lot, and Clara loves to work out with me. and she'll come down and she'll like do some burpees with me, or she'll get on the rower and act like she's rowing, and like I don't force her into any of that yet, you know, or I don't force her into anything like that. It's just like, you know, exposing her to her, just like you were talking about with the meditation. And then, you know, too,
you were talking about sports yesterday with her, and you were saying like, I'm going to expose her to as many sports as she wants to be exposed to, and then
but that's not
she'll pick what she wants.
I was thinking about. What was the other thing that you were talking about right before that? It was, man, I had a good point with this. Not expecting too much of them. So like, you know, like she says, I give them space to melt down. Like Kim will get really wrapped up in like, oh man, I can't believe, you know, Claire is doing this, and feel like it's like she's failing as a mom. I'm like, hey, she's 5. Yeah, she's 5.
Yeah,
all 5-year-olds work through
all
it.
all 5-year-olds are going to say things that are ridiculous because they're 5. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be easy on yourself in that situation.
And like, how cool is it that you can be like, yeah, that does suck. You know, like, I'm mad for you. Like, that does sound like only 2, man. Okay. And then I kind of play into it with him. You know, we have chores and all that great stuff. I'm like, I hate laundry too. And he's like, you do? And I'm like, yeah, I do. But we have to do it. You know, like.
It's sometimes it's
I like having clean clothes though, you know.
Yeah.
Concepts for us at our age are very easy to understand, but it's like, you know, these, you know, my 5-year-old, she's, you know, she's been talking for a couple of years, so it's like she's just now, you know, getting to the point where she's like really got, you know, speech patterns down, and now we're expecting her to know like the concept of, you know, it's just it's asking a lot of them, and it's like it's important to remember that, like, you know, hey, you know, when I was a 5-year-old, I was a shithead. You were a shithead. You were a shithead. And it's just like being like, you know, understanding of like where a kid is in their life and not expecting too much of them too quickly. And then also realizing that they're going to be their own person, which I feel like a lot of parents have a really hard time. They're like, no, I will derive all of my self-worth from molding you into what I want you to be. And it's like, you know, that's where you create a kid that ends up going off the deep end because they're like, they've never been able to like truly just be themselves.
Express themselves.
Yeah.
Really.
And like, I clearly am constantly learning. Like, this kind of, we have a conscious parenting lady that comes to the gym and teaches classes and things like that. So that's
unconscious parenting.
Conscious parenting.
Okay.
So it's just being very conscious of what you're saying and doing, like how to create like these habits at night where they can, like, you know, you have like a little hug, handshake, all that stuff. I don't know the whole thing. She does it all. But yeah, I think that's the whole point is like, you know, my husband and I are both athletes, and we were given a child that doesn't really like sports, the first one, you know, and it was like, okay, don't push my shit on him. Yeah. Like,
totally.
Well, I think you just got to get like into what they're into. Yeah. You know, it's like if they're
he
into
likes anime.
Oh shit.
We learned everything there is to know
I don't
about
know
anime
anything
just
about
a second
anime.
ago. 2 guests ago, we had Roger Allen on, and he was like our age, and he loved anime. And we're like, how did we miss it? How did we just totally miss it? I was
like, dude,
it's so mainstream like culture
Dragon
at this
Ball
point.
Z, I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't know anything, and he taught us quite a bit. It's pretty
I know
funny.
One Piece.
What's that?
It's an anime thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
We got employees that
all of our employees made fun of us when they made a clip of it. Yeah. Everybody was just.
We got guys on our team with anime tats.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do know some of those guys.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, hey, more power to you, whatever you're into. I think it's cool, but I just can't believe that. Like, I typically back in the day used to always know whatever pop culture is happening, right? I used to take more value in it than I do now, but I was just like, how did I miss that completely? Right? Like, I had Pokemon, but like that's apparently like. That's like not cool in the anime world, apparently. I have no idea.
Yeah, Pokemon is not.
Apparently not.
But
Luke's just cracking up because of how dorky we sound right now. But yeah.
I just had no idea that this was a whole thing.
Yeah. It's unbelievably a whole thing. It's a lifestyle, apparently. Just had no idea.
I know. I'm really afraid but excited. I'm actually excited. Mm-hmm. Maybe one day he'll want to go to, like, you know how they have Comic-Con and people dress up.
Yeah.
Sounds like an awesome gift.
Probably go to an anime one.
That would be cool.
That'd be fun. I guarantee they're like at every one of them too. Like, it's not even, you don't even have to get specific.
Yeah.
We got I got some customers that we love that we're really close with that are huge on anime. We can figure out when the good ones are coming.
Okay, yeah.
And which ones to avoid and which ones to go. For real.
Yeah, because I'm in the dark with that one.
Mm-hmm. But it's obviously sounds like something cool that you could connect with your son on. So yeah. Worth doing.
Yeah.
Anywho, I don't know how I'm gonna handle this boredom thing with Addie, but it happened as I was dropping her off. But in my head, I'm like,
I mean, when I was a kid, I
You're
remember
gonna be bored.
distinctly saying like, I'm bored. Yeah.
I was like,
what
hey,
would
I'm
it-
sorry you're bored. I'm sorry that you're feeling that way. Whenever I'm excited to pick you up later, though. So hopefully you can at least, think about things that you do enjoy that we can do whenever we get home. But, for the meantime, your mommy and I have to go make money. We have to go to work. Sorry.
Yeah. I like to give them task. Like, all right, so you're going to be bored. I need you to find out 5 things for me. And so I give them little tasks that they have to do throughout the day. Okay, so what did the baby do? Or you know what I mean? Like
Totally,
stupid stuff. But
find me 5 dandelions.
yeah, or like, hey, can you figure out what your babysitter's favorite color is today? Just see if you can figure that out. And just give.
I love that.
I don't know. Those are things I go with my kids. It's like
When you got 3 minutes to do it, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I could absolutely come up with some.
like give her a little task and be like, you
Arbitrary
don't have to tell
tasks.
anyone. Just see if you can figure it out. Like it's Clue or
Totally.
something. I don't know.
Make it
I
fun.
also think it's
Yeah,
like
make it fun.
exposure too, though. It's like the more that you allow them to be bored. Here's the thing: is like with my daughter, is like she'll be like, "Dad, I'm bored," and then I'll be like, "Well, you're just gonna be bored. I don't know what to say." And I'll come back like 20 minutes later, and she's like covered in dirt, and I'm like, "What are you doing? I guess you're not bored anymore." She's like, "Well, I found this rock and I started,
And a stick.
I dug this rock and
You're gonna meet your wife. She sounds cool.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing ever.
She's something else.
She's
that's
got
for sure.
she's got a million one-liners over the last. I feel like I've known her for 20 years now, which might be getting close to.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
yeah,
that's
just
awesome.
it's just the savagery of the straight face of rocks and sticks, and like don't tell me otherwise. And I was like, oh, don't need anything else. I
Hey,
guess.
you
You're like-
dropped me off at my house yesterday, and they had some balls out. They were playing soccer.
Yeah, Clara was scootering.
Yeah,
You know what I
Claire
mean? If
had
that's a
scooter.
phrase.
Yeah.
No, it was
Yeah.
just we were at the cabin, and I was just like, oh, like did you bring the kids down here? I didn't see a single kid's toy or anything. Like no sign of children in this cabin. She's like rocks and sticks. Jeff. All right, that's it.
Oh, that's funny.
So we got you're trying to find them with toys. You can't, Luke. Sorry.
None of my kids have toys in any picture.
Yeah.
I'm a good parent, I
Yeah.
sweir.
Christmas is them. Christmas is literally them unwrapping
Hey,
like pots and
I am gonna
pans.
throw this out there. Kids' toys are junk for the most
Yeah.
part. Like, God,
They have a lifespan of like 6 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
And then they're like on to the next thing.
Look at that, dude. Her Uncle Carl gave that to her.
Exactly. Nobody else.
See?
Aw, she's so cute.
Yeah.
They only look like twins in this photo.
Yeah.
So now she looks just like her mom. It's crazy how it works. But like, I'm like, dude, now she's just a twin of her mom.
Yeah. Oh, there's
Oh,
yep.
Oh, yep. This is me skinning a beaver alive.
Skin a beaver, and Maddie loved holding the skin beaver.
Yeah, dude. All you need is a laundry basket
That is the most.
and
yeah.
a frog. And
Yeah.
now you're good. All right.
See, that's all she wants to do. Is anyway, she wants to go catch
she goes
frogs.
fishing.
It is that time of year for everybody who's wondering if it's frogging season.
Hot topic.
Hot topic on the podcast.
So, anyways, we want to know where would people who are interested in getting into anything beyond fitness, where would they find you?
well, they can follow me on social media at BeyondFit KC, or they can go to the website beyondfitness.com. So
Love that. And then we've got to do something. Me and Kyle need to come out and do this. We need to do the TRX yoga, it sounds like.
yeah, I think that you guys should do TRX yoga, and then I should take you through meditation.
I'm down.
I'm down. Here's my thing though. Have you done yoga?
Last year, I failed on my. I had a genuine New Year's resolution of I wanted to get more mobile. I've always had I've had big
Oh.
issues with mobility. As in
Okay.
I'm sore, I'm tight all the time. I've literally since I was a little kid, what help me out here, like the sit and reach. Remember that?
Yeah.
I couldn't
Couldn't even reach the box.
I couldn't register. I couldn't get a number.
Still holding on to that, huh?
Bro, that's like that thing used to come to your knees. You couldn't
One
touch
year-
your
It
knees.
was already halfway there.
1 year I got presidential because no shit. 1 year I got presidential because I wore swishy pants and they're like
Oh, you bent your knees, you
No,
son of a bitch.
I held them up and they stayed, and then I bent my knees. And so anyway, I still to this day, I probably am the most mobile I've ever been. I had Hannah help me stretch literally last night. I'm trying to get better. I hate feeling like I'm tight all the time.
Yeah.
And I genuinely want to work on it. And just the yoga classes, I felt like I tried out. I don't want to name any names because I just wasn't impressed. But I like signed up, I spent the money. I did like a whole bulk, thing of classes, went for like 3 weeks straight, twice a week, honored what I wanted to do, and just genuinely felt like I wasn't getting better. And I felt like the coaching wasn't very one-on-one, wasn't very direct. No one was really helping me through it. And I was going at around noon, which felt like I was just going around with a bunch of aces that people that have been doing it for years and years.
Yeah.
So I just felt like I was getting lapped in class. And so all of it was my own personal discomfort that I wasn't wanting to sit through so much.
Right.
So, and I recognized that. So having somebody that I genuinely like being around with me doing it would be really helpful. Going at a class that's maybe more for beginners, things I just need to spend more time looking into.
I think too, like I really like to cultivate like a relaxing environment with yoga. I've been to a lot of classes too where you walk in and it's like, do I even say hi to these people? Like nobody wants to say hi to me.
Yeah.
Or you have to go to the bathroom in the middle and you're like, ooh, am I going to mess up someone's zen? I really got to pee though,
Yeah.
So I really like to cultivate that like fun atmosphere. And that's what I love about TRX yoga is like, you're going to get a badass workout, but you're going to get stretched too.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a feeling that if I went to your classes and I went for 3 weeks and I didn't go after that, that maybe I would hear from someone that'd be like, hey, just want to make sure everything's going good. Did you enjoy your, like, I was in very much in an environment where no one would reach out to me and no one would care if I left, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like, that was kind of part of it. And so I just honestly need to like, not be such a whiny baby and probably
Community wasn't there.
That's the truth. Yeah. It
Yeah.
did. And I'm sure that the community's there for others, but I didn't feel included more or
Right.
less.
Right.
And I all it took was like, one session where I felt absolutely terrible afterwards and couldn't come, and then a vacation or a class, whatever.
Yeah.
And then just never started back up. So I need to get back into it. I'm going to
Yeah.
touch my toes this year. You guys all watch.
I'm going to get that little,
You can't
I'm
touch
going to
your
get that
toes.
box out.
It's not that I can't, it's not that I can't touch my toes. It's that I'm not even fucking close.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like I can touch my shins.
we'll get that flexibility box out.
It took
for
me a
you.
year to learn how to
Mhm.
itch my knees. You know what I'm saying? With a straight leg. So it's like a dire situation. My hips are super tight all the time. I have the world's flattest feet. Like my feet are literally like hobbit feet. My
You
dad's.
also have the weakest posterior chain of all time.
It's true.
Not helping you out
Not
with
helping.
your tight hips.
These are all things I need to work on. And I'm dead serious about like, that's where my fitness journey is right now. Like I don't care so much about the prettiness of muscles or this or that. I'm really caring about how I feel every day.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it. I'm
Okay.
actually doing more posterior chain work. I'm doing more core work. I literally did 50 ab wheels yesterday. How about that? What's up, Kyle? Did ab wheels. So anyways, I'm dead serious about it. Let's do it. I'm down for TRX
Okay.
yoga. We're going to
Okay.
come out and do it.
We'll do it.
I'm in.
Okay.
Now,
Now you guys might
arbitrary-
have to
Go
make
ahead.
it like a day trip, so we might have to plan some things if you go that far out.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Make it a whole day.
It is. It is. I
Do
got
the
a
Blue Lotus together, right?
One of my best
Okay.
friends lives in Odessa, and I'm always like,
yeah.
bro, I can't make the trip out to Columbia today. Like it's
Right.
so far away.
Did you hear Kyle's twang when he said Odessa? He like can't
know.
even say it normal. He goes,
That's fine.
He
You
goes,
gotta
"My
call
friend-"
it
He goes, "My friend lives."
Odessa.
He goes, "My friend lives-"
Odessa.
Yeah, you tried to just chime it in there. You're like,
First of all-
my friend lives out Odessa.
you really went there for that
I
too.
feel like that.
And I knew exactly what you're talking about.
You're from
Yeah.
that area, so people probably
Yes,
say
I'm- yes.
Odessa.
Yes. Yes.
Don't you feel like your classes would triple in size if you lived closer to the plaza and not out in Grain Valley, based on your interests as far as what Beyond Fitness offers? There's so much more people that are in tune, I feel like, with those things.
Yes.
In
I
closer
don't,
to the city,
Yeah,
if you will.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah.
I don't think that's in my next year or two plan,
Sure.
but it's definitely something I'm open to.
For sure.
Right now it's about growing the business and being physically and mentally present for my family. We actually have an opportunity where we could live downtown, so I would assume that's whenever I'll probably venture that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And
Cool.
Whenever that happens, let me know. I live downtown now. Keep an eye on what's for lease
Yeah.
and what's not. Those are things I'm interested in. So just let me
Okay.
know if you ever want an extra.
Absolutely.
On a complete arbitrary note, if you've listened to the podcast, we ask every single person the same question, the very end. So without putting you under the spotlight of that you haven't listened, here is the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kansas City is famous for its barbecue. This you know.
Yeah.
You may hate barbecue, you may not hate it, whatever. But when people come, what is the place you have to take people if they're coming for barbecue? What is your go-to spot if you have one?
Oh, if I have one. Okay. You ready?
You can give us your favorite that's not barbecue that you have.
I already know what it is from where she lives.
No, I bet you're wrong.
Our eyes connected and you knew exactly.
I knew.
We're not as close as you guys are, but I looked at him
I got it.
and he has it. I
got
actually know you have it.
All right, then Kyle, what is it?
Jack Stack.
He's
No.
way off.
He's way off.
I knew it. I knew he wouldn't know. So don't worry. I'd still know him
Hold on,
better.
hold on.
And I knew he wouldn't know.
But
He's
Kyle.
like, I know him so well that I knew that he would know.
Right. But I'll tell you what I think it is.
what is it?
There's a place that's
Oh,
near.
it's an obscure place. Here we go.
It is an obscure
Jeff's
place.
gonna know, and he's also gonna know the best sides there too, because that's just Jeff.
Is but your Odessa buddy would know.
God, there's a bar in Odessa.
Okay, it's not in Odessa, but he would know. So it's called Bait City Barbecue.
Bait City Barbecue.
Yes.
And what makes it great?
And it goes Oak Grove, Bait City, Odessa.
Gotcha.
And it's in this little town that
You said it wrong. It's Odessa.
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 So Bait City, it's been there forever. What makes it great is it's constantly the same food every freaking time you go. It's
Consistency
always
is
yes,
key.
Yeah.
yes. And then they have the best French fries and all kinds of stuff. So
Love
you
it. So
gotta
they got
get
quality
one.
sides. Quality sides matters.
Yeah.
You're the first one to throw out Bait City Barbecue on the podcast, so they might
Every
have to give
barbecue
you
because
Yes.
I live out there by Odessa.
some. I was thinking everyone.
you know what?
Everyone that's on that side of the city seems like they always like Jack Stack. I don't know why. That's why
So
I said Jack Stack.
I like Jack Stack. I will tell you though, like their sides are so heavy. And
Yeah.
it's just too much.
Welcome to barbecue.
I know, but it's too much for me. And that's what I love. Bait City's like simplicity, but good. It's always good. Like we had my
Heavy sides are beyond fitness, though, Casey. Just saying.
Okay, so what I just heard is you guys are coming to TRX yoga.
It's
and
true.
then we're going to Bait City barbecue for lunch.
Can we align our
go.
chakras first?
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe we'll align some chakras with Blue Lotus. I don't know.
Let's
After
go.
the fact, we're gonna. So
Let's
so the
go.
next podcast we have you on, we're going to discuss your Blue Lotus as far as your experience with it, because you
That
have not
sounds
done it
dirty,
to this point.
bro.
It does.
What?
What?
Get your minds out
We're
of the
gonna
gutter,
discuss
guys.
your Blue Lotus.
Pause.
Jeez, it wasn't a pause situation.
All I'm saying is check it out, Google it, or not, or don't. Doesn't matter. Bottom line, we'll have a lot to
I
talk
need to
about.
Google it though
sounds
for
like.
it too.
Well, you were the one that's telling us about it. I didn't know about it till you told me.
Well, I just had heard about it and started talking to a lady about it. So
Okay. I think that's all we got. If you guys would love to get a hold of Casey, she already told you where to find her. But we just really appreciate you taking the time to come out here today. It was
yeah,
awesome
thank
Yeah, it
you
was a
guys
fun
for
one.
having me.
Yeah.
It was awesome
Yeah.
getting to know you better. And, these conversations are always my favorite because they're uninterrupted, no screens, no nothing. Just got the occasional Luke throw up on the screen. That's about it.
You did
So.
a great job though, Luke.
All right. We're going to come see you guys. Check out Beyond Fitness. Casey's awesome. And let us know what you think of the podcast. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and share.
Thank
is
you.
See y'all next week.